In this video, I'm going to go over the expressions and equations RISE review paper. So follow along with me. Here we go. Momentarily, we will get started. Okay, so the first question says, evaluate 4 to the third power. So 4 to the third power does not mean 4 times 3. The little exponent means something different. It means 4 multiplied by itself 3 times. So 4 times 4 times 4. So 4 times 4 is 16, times 4 is 64. So my answer would be 64. Next one, Gina walked C miles per day for 5 days. So if it was 1 day, I would do 1 times C to see how many miles. Since it's 5 days, we're going to be doing 5 times C to see how many miles she walks on all of the 5 days. Then she walked another 2 miles. Write the expression for the number of miles Gina walked. So an expression doesn't have an equal sign. So we just write the expression. So for the first, if she just walked for 5 days and C miles per day, I would do 5 times C, which is 5C. And then since she walked another 2 miles, then I'm going to add 2 to that expression. So 5C plus 2 would be my expression. Next question. Find the value of the expression 5n when n equals 12. So 5n means 5 times n. So if n is 12, I'm going to do 5 times 12. 5 times 12 equals 60. So my answer would be 60. Next one. Find the value of the expression n divided by 2 plus 5 when n equals 42. So I'm going to plug in 42 for n. So I'm going to write 42 divided by 2 plus 5. I'm going to do 42 divided by 2 first. 42 divided by 2 is 21. And if you don't know how to do that quickly, you could do long division. If it gives you a calculator, use a calculator. 21 plus 5 is 26. So my answer would be 26. Question 5. Simply simplify using the distributive property. So 6 right on the outside of the parentheses, 2t plus 4. So I'm going to multiply 6 by 2t, and then I'm going to add it to 6 times 4. So 6 times 2t would be 6 times 2 is 12, and then I have a t with that. Plus, because there's a plus in the parentheses, 6 times 4, which is 24. So that is that expression simplified. Okay, for question 6, we haven't really gone over these properties, but this is which property is shown. 2 plus 5n equals 5n plus 2. So it's the same thing as thinking 2 plus 5 is the same as 5 plus 2. That property is called the commutative property, where you just like switch the order of how you add things. Okay. 7. Identify which expression means the same as 5c plus c. So when we plus c, it's like plus 1c. So it's like we're doing 5c plus 1c. 5c's plus 1c's are 6c's. So I would say B is my answer, 6c. Okay, flip to the other side. Question 8. Solve for x when 32 plus x equals 55. So I go through the steps. I identify the variable. The variable is x. What is with the variable is plus 32. So I'm going to do the opposite of plus 32. So x is all by itself. So opposite of plus 32 would be minus 32. And I would subtract 32 on both sides of my equation. 32 minus 32 gives us 0. So that crosses out. And then I have x all by itself. And I say x equals 55 minus 32 would give me 23. So solve for x, x equals 23. And I go back and check to make sure that makes sense. Is 32 plus 23 55? Yes, so I did it right. Next one, solve for y. It says y is less than, or sorry, y minus 2 is greater than or equal to 4. So this is something we haven't really gone over in class, but when it has a greater than or equal than sign, we just kind of treat it as if it's an equal sign, and we just still are trying to solve for the variable all by itself. So the variable is y. What is with the variable is minus 2. So the opposite of minus 2 is plus 2. So we're going to do plus 2 on both sides of the inequality. So minus 2 plus 2 gives us 0. So then we have y all by itself. And then we keep the greater than or equal to sign. 4 plus 2 is 6. So y is greater than or equal to 6. Okay. Next one. Sally has $50. She spends C dollars on some clothes and then $8 on lunch. Write an expression to show how much money Sally has left. So there's different ways to do it. We could start, okay, she starts with $50 and then she spends C dollars. So when we spend, we subtract, so minus C, and then $8 on lunch. So she spends $8 on lunch. So I'm going to subtract 8 as well. So that's one way I could write my expression. Starts with 50 minus C minus 8, because those are the things she spent. Another way you could write it would be 50 minus, and then you combine the things that she spent, which would be C plus 8. And then my minus right outside the parentheses would make me subtract like both of those things. But this top way would probably be the way that makes the most sense. So just do the easiest way. Question 11, solve for m. M minus 10 equals 155. So the variable is m. What is with the variable is minus 10. So I'm going to do the opposite of minus 10, which is plus 10. So plus 10, plus 10. This gives me m all by itself. 155 plus 10 is 165. So m equals 165. And make sure it makes sense. Is 165 minus 10 155? Yes. Okay, next one. Solve and draw your solution on the number line. So we have m plus 2 is greater than 1. So I'm going to get m all by itself. So the opposite of plus 2 is minus 2 on both sides of the equation. Then I have m, this crosses out and gives me 0. 1 minus 2 gives me negative 1. So I'm going to have m is greater than negative 1. And now that is my expression or my equation, and I'm going to graph that. So if it's a greater than or less than sign, we use the open dot. If it's greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, then we use the closed dot. So mine is a greater than sign, so I put an open dot at negative 1. Open dot. And it's greater than negative 1. So greater is going to be pointing to the right. So anything greater. So there's my solution. Last one. Greg drove 40 miles per hour. After 6 hours, how many miles did he drive? So 40 miles in 1 hour. In 6 hours, how many miles? So I know 1 times 6 gives me 6 hours. So I'm going to do 40 times 6. So let's do 40 times 6 to see how many miles. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 4 is 24. So that means he went 240 miles in 6 hours. Okay, if there's a question you didn't understand very well, make sure you go back and review it. If you still don't understand, come to me, ask me questions, and hopefully this helps you on this worksheet.